Okay, so there's this tool right here. It's the icon for it makes no sense. It's like it's circles, dots, arrow. I don't know what that all means. But what it does is it's sort of like your Pathfinder a little bit, only a little bit kind of real time. So if I drag over this, it will combine shapes. You guys see that? Right? But if I hold Alt or Option, I can drag over here and it'll eliminate shapes. You see that?
Wow, that's great for like clouds or trees, mushrooms. Yeah, okay.
And then while I have it here, I should be able to go here, grab a color and just sort of use it like a color picker or color paint, whatever you call it. And it'll fill it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think you can even do, let's see this. Make a fatter line. Oops. There you go. Yeah, it does. So even with a line, it'll do it. I don't know why it's doing that. That's weird. Even with a line, it'll do it. So it's kind of a handy thing if you like working that way. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, that's nice.
So just remember, it's either you click and drag over things and it'll combine them, or you hold Alt or Option and drag over them and it eliminates them. And then you can just go color pick, you know, just like your paint bucket tool. So let's go to, so here's the curvature pen tool. And I'm going to go, and it basically, it does exactly what it says. It just makes curves. So I'm going to go, oops. I don't know why it's making a weird thing right there. There it goes. And I'm half-assing it. But, and now here's the thing. If you come down here and you got this point, you can double click it and then start it over, you know. So whenever you have like a hard point like that, you can double click it. And it'll get pretty accurate. I know I'm not being very accurate, but I think you get the point. And I could double click it. And then I just sort of click, and create my curves. And then once you get it done, let's just half-ass this up. And then I, you know, click it and go here. Once you get this done, you can go in and you can still smoothing tool it. You can go and fix anything that's not right with your white arrow tool. But it is actually a pretty handy tool. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
So all it does is it just makes curves. When you click it, it just automatically makes curves. It does work really nicely if you, you know, if you just get used to it, which I think takes about 20 minutes. I just never really used it all that much. Not because it's not a good tool. It just never was part of my, I wasn't aware of it, to be honest with you. Let's do this. Let's say that I've got a drawing. And let's go. So one thing that I think I've told you guys that I do is okay, another thing too, with the, I don't know if I've talked about this, but like when you go to your, whatever you call it, type tool, oops, tip tool. Before I send it off to anybody, you know, if it's just a final thing, I'm sending to the printer or something, I'm going to go up here to type and go outline stroke or outline, create outlines. You guys know that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So one thing that I always do usually is I will create a shape or, you know, my line work or whatever. I don't know why I care about this for demos, but it bugs me if it's all funky looking. And let's say these overlap. Smooth it out a little. So what I do is I outline strokes, I outline my type, and then I combine everything, okay? Unite everything. So let's go. I haven't done this in a while, so hopefully I don't screw it up. So now I've got this. So what I would do is I'd come here and I'd go object, path, outline stroke. And after I outline the stroke, then I come over here to unite. And I unite this. I come here. I go type, create outline. So everything, what does that do? It creates everything is just a shape now, right? They don't have to have the fonts. Now, the other thing, if you're going to send this to somebody and you do want them to have editability, then you're going to send them the package that we did before, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to actions. Now there's a bunch of default actions in here, which to be honest with you, I've never used. They're kind of lame. I don't really know why. Anyway, I'm going to create a folder. Let's just call it demo. And go OK. And then I'm going to go right here, just like on our layers thing, create a new action. I'm going to say okay, so I can assign this to a function key. I can give it a color, and I'm putting it in the set. You got to put it in the set in the demo, and I'm going to say record. And I'm going to go in here and go, I'm going to grab this. I'm going to go to object, path, outline stroke. Let's just go right to here. What did my Pathfinder go? There it is. Now I'm going to unite those, and then I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to type, create outlines, and then I'm going to go right here and go stop. Okay, so then I go play, and it did all that. Does that make sense? There it is. Everything's outlined. These are unified, outlined. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You know, when you use the line width tool, I guess it's not going to pick something like, because there's too much discretion involved. I don't think you can automate that.
You have to be careful with what you're automating. Because yeah, it won't. I don't know, and I don't know if I took a line and I assigned the line 2 points, but like the width and all that, forget it. But for an action like that I do all the time, especially if it's something like, sometimes my files are pretty complicated, stuff like that, and it's just nice just to go boom and it does it. Does that make sense? I would just do it for stuff like that that's like really workaday stuff. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yes.
Yes.
You know, the nice thing about it is, like, once you make that folder, you got to make sure you make a folder for it to put it in, or I guess you could put it in the default folder, but I wouldn't do that. All you're doing is just like it's like anything that you record on. You just hit record, you do your thing, hit stop, and it records it. Yeah. Make sense?
Yep.
Let me double check where I'm at. Oh, one other thing. As I was going through some of the newer stuff with the 3D stuff, hopefully I can remember this. There's stuff in here that you could not do before. So, all right, so so I'm going to group these because you couldn't do this as far as I know before. I'm going to go to Effect, 3D, Extrude and Bevel. There's a couple of things I wasn't aware of here. And I'm going to give it a little more depth. Okay, now it has this here, which I haven't been using, which I can turn it and all that sort of thing in real time, which is really nice. Before you couldn't do that. And it still has the tool over here to do it. And then you can turn it on different axes and things like that. You can also come up here. This didn't used to be like this either. And I can edit this actually like a normal object sort of. So I can come up here and like I can use my rounding tools. And I can also select these things and go, oops, I can move them, but I can also go, like I can change the bevels and everything in real time, which you could not do before. See that? Yeah?
Yes.
I was still in awe. I couldn't answer.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah.
I had it moving here. Hang on. Why is it not moving now? Yeah, there it is.
Is this
So
still
look how
considered
quick-
a vector?
I think so, yeah.
Because it seems like some of the edges get blurred.
Now, if I go in and I go up here to my, let's undo this. Oops. Let's select it. And I go to the ray tracing thing. Renders vector. And if you go in and you render it this way, it'll get much smoother and cleaner. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So it just depends on level of quality you want with it. If I was doing like a funky, you know, thing with a bunch of funky 3D objects in it, like it's a fun thing, then I might just leave it the way it is and kind of go for that whole look. I'm gonna see what it does if it doesn't take all day. Sorry, that's probably loud on the thing. You see, and it cleans it up a little bit. You see that?
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, it's a lot cleaner. Didn't have that before. It didn't have the ray tracing or whatever it is. Now it's pretty nice. And then like here, it figured out how soft that edge should be. This little blast of light right here where it's got a soft edge is pretty nice. Look at that. It's got that hard edge right there, and then it fades off into the soft edge, which is pretty nice. There's a bunch of crazy stuff you can do with this now that didn't exist before.
Can you put like a texture on the front face and will it sink into kind of like a brick or something?
Well, you can put a texture on it with the, you know, with the object. I don't know if it's just going to go on the front face. I don't know if there's a way to do that or not. Maybe there is. Let's go here. Let's go. This is interesting. Let's see. Oh, that just changed.
Yep.
Okay, guys, I will see you in the morning. So make sure anything you're working on, you need to talk.